that's really how I built my core audience, is stop thinking about them as followers and start thinking about them as real people. So people say, well, you got 500 followers. Well, can you speak in front of 500 people?
That's a fact. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you speak in front of 500 people? So when I shifted my mindset, because I went to school for communication and marketing, so I know how it is. I didn't spoke in front of 750 people, bro.
Wow.
So I'm like, man, I was about to sweat like out of my shirt. I was up there shaking.
It's different.
It's different,
Yeah.
but people, when they look at them followers, they don't look at them as real people. And I made the mindset shift and started looking at everybody as people. That's why I was like, man, let me just ask people, because a lot of times if somebody asks you to do something, you'll be like, yeah, sure, right? But in life, you get what you ask for, right? So my first couple thousand followers was just asking people, and then whenever I make content and post the content, asking them to share it. People, drop a fire emoji or something. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the like or the comment. Could you share it to your story?
Wow.
Right? And those are the things that are not scalable. So people will tell you not to do it. No, you can't ask everybody to do that. But in business, if you want to get from 0 to 100, you got to first focus on getting from 0 to 10.
That's right.
And everybody forget the middle 99. Everybody want to go from 1 to 100, but they forget that middle 99. So in business, you got to do things that aren't scalable at first. And then you got to work in the background on the business model that you can scale. But everybody's thinking about scaling, and I was just thinking about starting.
Wow. Good people, what's up? What's good, man? Blessed be your host, Caleb Smith. Man, today we have a very special guest in the building, man. He's been killing it. His story is just phenomenal, man. He changed everything. He's been killing it. Talk about upward trajectory, changing people's lives. He's doing all of that and some, man. He's giving us game every single day. And not only that, he's providing a platform for young entrepreneurs, young creatives to share their stories, share their platforms, their businesses, and he's showing us how to grow our businesses. And he's done it himself. Multiple streams of income. Six plus, killing it, man. 2020 during COVID, man, just seeing everything grow like organically, whether it was from 2,000 to 4,000, 700 to 4,000, then 4,000 to 50 to 60 to 100. Now we talking about an M. Mr. James Hill, how you doing, good brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good, man. I appreciate you and your team for having me on.
Thank you.
I see you grinding. I love the space y'all got here in the studio.
Appreciate it, man. Humble.
So, I see you.
Thank you. Likewise, man. Bro, I got to give you all your flowers, man, and say for all the young Black entrepreneurs, man, we appreciate you because, bro, you built something like that shirt, Black Millionaires. That's how you know, like, you got a brand when you don't even have to say anything, and it's just those 2 words, bro. So, man, thank you for just all that you do for real.
I appreciate it, man. Since I was younger, man, I was looking outward for some type of mentor, some type of big homie. I'm from the east side of Detroit, so you had an OGs
what
in
up,
the hood.
Though? Yeah,
I was always looking for someone to come and give me some game to change my life. But really, man, it never really happened. So I started really investing in my mind and reading books and studying. I went to school, things like that, and I realized that probably about 23, 24, the person I was looking for was the person in the mirror. So I became that person, and I created the platform to help those other individuals who probably are struggling with the same thing I was struggling with, looking for some type of outside validation to help them grow their business and start their brands and things like that. So that's really what my platform is about, is helping entrepreneurs see the potential in themselves. It's not necessarily about me becoming a millionaire or multiple streams of income that I have. It's more so, hey, I helped this single mother create an additional stream of income, leveraging her social media. So now she got a business and she can work and do her business, or she can run it up and run her business full time. So I'm just blessed to be in a position to allow other people to create different streams of income for themselves.
I love that, brother, man. on your page, bro, seeing that growth, and you had one particular post, I think, man, you might have posted this like a while back, seeing how things were going, I think in early like 2020, you know, saying that you were trying to contact family and friends, multiple people, 100 plus, man, saying, yo, I got this platform I'm building, Black Millionaires, right?
Yeah.
And seeing that from 2020 to then the growth to the end of 2020 into right now.
Yeah.
For all those young entrepreneurs who are going through trying to explain a vision that you know will work, and those friends and family that's not supporting it, how do you fight through those hard times?
Yeah, so basically what you're talking about is when I first started my platform, basically I DM'd every single person that I knew. Family, friends, old girls I tried to talk to in college, old girls I tried to talk to in high school. And I DM'd them and said, hey, I started this platform. I don't want any money from you. I'm not selling anything. If you could follow the platform, we're trying to reach, we got a goal of reaching 10,000 followers. That's all I really wanted to reach is 10,000 followers. Because you know the old Instagram was like, if you had 10K, it unlocked all these features. You had a swipe up link, all this other crazy
Blue
stuff.
check.
Exactly. So I'm like, I can apply for the blue check. I can do all this. So I'm like, I just got to get to 10K. And a bunch of people read the message and didn't respond. It was a couple people who was like, all right, man, I support what you're doing. You know, so I probably got like my first 400 followers just by begging people basically on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Hey, I'm starting this platform. And it's so crazy that now that I am who I am and I have this brand, people are interacting and commenting on the page and they don't even know it's me. And then they try to DM me and ask for one of my products and be like, oh man, you DM'd me 3 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, you ain't respond.
I was trying to tell you.
I was trying to work with you. I was trying to get you to tap in with me. But it ain't no hard feelings, man. Nobody believe in you until you prove it. Like, I mean, it's brands out here that I walk past every day. I don't believe in them because I don't know what they doing. But in 2-3 years, when they doing millions of dollars, I'm gonna be like, man, I see you working. You see what I'm saying? So people don't believe in stuff. So when you're an entrepreneur, you got to believe in what's nobody else can see, and you just got to realize that your words doesn't matter, your thoughts, your ideas, what you're manifesting, a lot of that stuff, man, is nonsense. Your actions is the only thing that's going to give you the results that you want. So you can think about reading books all day until you actually read a book. Wow. Or you can talk about doing a podcast all day until you actually sit down and do a podcast. And you realize that it's more than just talking. It's a team, it's audio, lights. Just like you guys got everything going on in here. So a lot of people got ideas, but the real people who gonna get rich are those who execute.
Jeez, that's a bar. Y'all, you giving us gems early already. Starting from zero, bro. 0 followers to now, what was that step to even get in that first 1K? Like, how do you grow a page that's built on sharing other people's platforms while you're still trying to grow yours? So then people, you know, they could be like hesitant, like, oh, Black Millionaires at the time only has 500 followers, so why should I trust you? So how did you build from 0 and just graduate?
Well, I kind of knew that because I had a brand previous to Black Millionaires that I was doing, and I lost a ton of money. I lost about $35,000-$40,000 with this brand. So I kind of learned a lot, and then I transitioned into the new brand. But I knew to make your page sticky, meaning when somebody come, they convert over to a follower or a buyer or whatever you want them to convert over to, you need those first initial couple thousand followers, because nobody wants to be the first person. Nobody want to be the first person to wear the Jordans, right? They saw Jordan wearing it, and then everybody around the world wanted to wear it. So you got to be your own marketer and your own advertiser. So what we were just talking about, the reason I contacted 3,000 people from Facebook, Twitter to Instagram is because I knew that if I would start promoting with 0 followers, it'd be a lot harder. But I got my first 1,500 followers just by literally asking everybody I knew and responding to every single comment. Now I get thousands and thousands of comments now, so I literally can't respond to none. So I just go through and find the funny ones or find something that's intriguing and debate with them real quick and just, you know, have my team do it. But that's really how I built my core audience, is stop thinking about them as followers and start thinking about them as real people. So people say, well, you got 500 followers. Well, can you speak in front of 500 people?
That's a fact. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you speak in front of 500 people? So when I shifted my mindset, because I went to school for communication and marketing, so I know how it is. I didn't spoke in front of 750 people, bro. Wow. So I'm like, man, I was about to sweat like out of my shirt. I was up there shaking.
It's different.
It's different. Yeah. But people, when they look at them followers, they don't look at them as real people. And I made the mindset shift and started looking at everybody as people. That's why I was like, man, let me just ask people, because a lot of times if somebody asks you to do something, you'll be like, yeah, sure. Right? But in life you get what you ask for. That's right? So my first couple thousand followers was just asking people, and then whenever I make content and post the content, asking them to share it. People, drop a fire emoji or something. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the like or the comment. Could you share it to your story?
Wow.
Right? And those are the things that are not scalable. So people will tell you not to do it. Nah, you can't ask everybody to do that. But in business, if you want to get from 0 to 100, you got to first focus on getting from 0 to 10.
That's right.
And everybody forget the middle 99. Everybody want to go from 1 to 100, but they forget that middle 99. So in business, you got to do things that aren't scalable at first. And then you got to work in the background on the business model that you can scale. But everybody's thinking about scaling, and I was just thinking about starting.
Wow.
So most people think that businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years. The reality is most businesses fail before they even start, because people never start. Right? So my first, couple thousand followers just came from comment every time somebody liked my stuff, thanking them. Wow. Just doing those small things that you can't scale and you can't teach. But that's how I got my first initial followers. And then I started creating content, and I learned something. You want people to steal your content. I used to be that person that's a bar. No, I want to go viral on my own page, right? Yeah. No. You want people to steal your content. If people aren't stealing your content, it might not be good enough. Right? So you got to find those bits and pieces of content, and big pages start stealing my content, because you have to post so much on social media now, to the point where you can't really produce all that content. It's true. Very, very, very hard to produce high quality content at that level, unless you have millions and millions of dollars and a team of 50. Yeah. Right? So people are looking for good content. So if you're a small content creator out there, or entrepreneur, you got a podcast or whatever, you want to create clips that people would steal and just kindly ask them to tag you. Or put your watermark on it so people can come look for you. Yeah. So I was one of the first people that I seen do that on all my content, no matter what. Yeah. I put my logo right there, and I put it to where you can't just exit it out, right?
Crop it out a little bit.
Because if you put it at the bottom, I can just crop it out and move on. But that's right. I put it on the person that's talking.
That's right.
Right? So now you can't crop out my shirt. You gotta leave it there, right? So people started looking up, what is this Black Millionaire stuff? What is this? What is that? So people start searching for my content. Yeah. And then I ask people, how did you find me? Right? And they say, I found you because this page shouted you out, or this page had your content. And they always steal people content. So I was interested in you. And I just thanking people like, hey, thanks for the repost. Yeah. Would you mind tagging me? Some people said no. And I said, what's the price? Right? Oh, $50. All right, bet. Here's $50. Tag me.
That's a different mindset.
Because I realized these people got 300,000-400,000 followers. They know the value of posting up on their page. So I'll pay you to tag me, bro. And then you start breaking bread with people, and once you start paying these people, after you do business with somebody 3-4 times, eventually you're gonna be like, okay, what's up, man? Let me get to know you. Where you from? What you got going on? So then you start to build relationships with people. That's right. So now every time I create some viral content, these people reposting my stuff. So I'm I'm like an editor to them. I create the content, and they just put it to their audience, and they tag me. So that's how I got my initial first couple, tens of thousands of followers. Is just like really creating a bunch of viral content and having people, having people tag me, either I gotta pay them or they just do it out of love.
Yeah.
And that was my initial strategy.
I love that, man. Strategy, bro. You were like boots to the ground, like popping the trunk, DMing people individually. How important, man, is it for young entrepreneurs to like understand you got to be boots to the ground and just talk to the people one-on-one sometimes?
Yes, so that's really, really important. I'm glad you mentioned that, because everybody wants to talk about multiple streams of income and passive income and working smarter and not harder and things like that. But the reality is, when you're just getting started, having passive income is not even that don't even make sense for you. Trying to work smarter doesn't even make sense. If you starting out your business and the first thing you're thinking about is working smarter and not working and not putting in the work, you already lost, right? So you have to be willing to put in that work. And there's a principle in psychology called willingness, meaning you don't have to. Okay, let's say you got children or you got a wife or whatever. You don't have to die for your wife, but you got to be willing to. She got to know that if a guy run up in here with a strap, you going to jump in front of her. Even though that's not really going to happen, more than likely. Yeah. But she has to know in her heart that you are willing to do that. The same principle applies with business. You don't have to respond to every single comment. You don't have to DM every single person, but you got to be willing to do it.
That's right.
You don't have to shoot content all day, but you got to be willing to do it. And the minute you click on in your mind, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this success work, to make this a success.
Right.
That's when the universe just moves out your way, because the universe is full of water. If you are force moving, the universe is going to move out your way, because it's not used to somebody pushing the door, right? It's not used to that. It's used to people being very passive and just working at a regular job that they hate and just accepting whatever society puts to them. You got to be willing to put the boots on the ground and push forward no matter what. If it take money, pay the money. If it take networking, get out and network. If it take just grinding and responding to everybody or doing something tedious that you don't like to do, and then everybody want to talk about you got to be passionate about it. I don't care what you do. You're not going to be passionate about 100% of the things you do. But the things that what you're doing is fighting so you can do the things you're passionate about in the future. So let's say you had to do 10 tasks in order to get to the 11th task. The 11th task is really what you want to do. Right. Most people are not willing to fight through those first 10 things that they don't want to do exactly what they want to do. So that's how you got to look at every single task. And I switch my mindset to every time something going wrong, I be thinking like, yeah, they just want me to quit. It's something on the side of this adversity. They just want me to give up and quit. I'm not going to give up and quit. And it literally always worked, because either I get a lesson or I get a blessing, and that lesson is going to show me how to not do it the next time. Yeah. And if it took me, 10 days last time to figure it out, it might take me 3 days this time.
Man, that's heavy. I love this, bro. On your page as well, man, you share a lot of great gems, vulnerable as well, man. Losing 30 racks, delivering pizzas on the weekends, trying to figure things out. Everybody sees all the success right now, right? But people don't understand what you went through. Right. Being down 30 racks is no easy feat at all.
Not easy at all.
Losing money, losing $2K to the apartment, right? So look,
you did your homework.
Hey, I got to, bro.
You did your
journalism 101, bro. But man, we talking about $32K now. That's some people's salaries that they live off of. Right. You have to make it out of that hole. Then you have to invest in a business, which is what a lot of people don't understand. You have to produce the content. You made it now, but during that moment, how do you fight through, I got to get out of this hole?
Look, man, honestly, it was all of the pressure of my family, my friends, and all the pressure I, put on myself, because I graduated from college. I put myself through school, took out student loans, did that whole nine. Wow. And I got my first career. It wasn't even a job. I was a licensed mortgage banker. So when I talk about financial literacy, I'm not just a guy that just popped up.
I'm talking from experience.
I was actually doing mortgages for people across 18 states. You can look me up. I have the license number. I took the test. I got audited by the government. All of that. Like, they check my credit literally once a month. Like, while I was working. So I was doing that, and that's how I saved up the 40 racks, right? So I moved from Detroit to Atlanta. It cost me about $7,000-$8,000 to move, just and all the, all the stuff, U-Hauls, all this other stuff that I spent money on, and I actually had the money to lose. See, that's another thing that's really important. Before I even started a business, I had the discipline to save up $30,000 to $40,000. Most people won't have that, and I was 23 when I was making this type of money. I was making probably about $120,000, $130,000 as a banker. Right. So I lost the money because, I was just investing in all the wrong stuff. I didn't really know how to be a business owner. But my family, when I announced that I was moving, man, they all was disappointed in me because I was making the most money out of my whole family, my immediate family, bro. I was making $120 at 23. I was taking care of people. Man, I was sending my auntie money for coats and shoes and boots for my nephews. Wow. I was paying rent. I was paying a light bill here and there to my cousins and aunties. I let my peoples hold money. Some people still ain't never paid me the money back, but I don't need the money. I more so need the relationship, because I value the relationship over the money. So I forgave him for that. But it was really that pressure, because when I left, all of them they turned on me. Like, and just to be honest, man, my family turned on me. My friends turned on me. My friends was even laughing at me in the group chat saying, you ain't gonna be nothing. All of this, bro. Wow. Like, I never been to Atlanta before I moved to Atlanta, bro.
Oh, you serious? Wow.
Yes, I never been to Atlanta. So I just woke up one day and was like, man, I'm moving to Atlanta. Right? And I got up. I don't recommend this, right? But this is what I did. I'm just saying this is what I did. And I moved to Atlanta. And I had a good situation back in Detroit. But the problem is I was 10 minutes away from the hood. And I grew up in the hood. Like, I'm not proud of that I grew up and it was, crack houses right next door to my house, right around the corner. And like, I knew the crackheads and I knew the drug dealers and I knew everybody. Like, I used to skip school and go to the trap house, bro. Like, I wasn't selling drugs or doing nothing crazy. I was just around a lot of that type of stuff, bro. Like, I used to shoot dice in there and stuff like that. So those people looked up to me, and I was making legal money. Right? And they like, bro, you making legal money, you young, you ain't got no kids. Why would you give that up talking about some new business, bro? What's wrong with you? So honestly, man, when I lost that money and I tried to get my job back, and they played me. So I literally had nothing else to do. I couldn't go back home. I couldn't go back and get the job. None of my family let me move with me. So I was literally forced to figure it out. I was gonna get rich or die trying.
All those doors.
All the doors that got closed on me. You know how some people got options. They can go back. They can stay with their cousin. They can do this, and that's cool. I love that, right? But I literally was stripped of all of that because everybody was mad at me because I left this nice job and I was supplying the hood, bro. I was really supplying for the family. I pull up, ain't nobody got no food. You can take my car, go. I don't even know what you spending. They go spend, get 8 boxes of pizza, go get some food, go get this. And I was leaving because it wasn't nothing to me. But $500-$600 in the hood is a lot of money, bro. But I was making that. I was making 130 and I ain't got no real bills like that. Right. So I was really stacking. So like, it was really that pressure, bro, and embarrassment that I didn't want to go back and face my family and tell them that, y'all was actually right. So I'm just really fighting every day to prove them wrong.
This is good. So embarrassment, man. So many young entrepreneurs, who are potential black millionaires, right? Who are trying to grow that business, and that door to that old job is probably closed. How do you pivot and say, yo, I gotta make this business work? How do you make the business work?
So, okay, I'm gonna give some practical steps, right? So when I lost all my money and I was down to my last and I had to go back and get a job, one of the things I did is I said, okay, I'm not going to have too much I don't know time. So I literally started tracking my time, because if I ask you, what did you do 3 weeks ago at this time? You're going to be like, man, I don't know. Right? So I got rid of all that time. Everything I did, I had some type of time accounted for. So from 9 to 5, I was working at a job. I went out and got a sales job at Cisco, the technology company. So I wasn't making nearly as what I used to make as a banker, but it was enough, right? But one thing people don't realize is once you make a certain amount of money, it's hard to go back to
that's real.
You making $20, $30 an hour. I was making real money. So my mindset was still go, 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 even when I got off work. So I started delivering pieces after work. And then I didn't deliver pieces just in the hood or like, you know, in Decatur or in some part of Atlanta that wasn't affluent. I said, I need to deliver pieces in Buckhead because I want to, for one, get some good tips.
Yeah, of course.
And two, I want it to be safe. And three, I'm going up to mansions, bro.
I knew it. Yeah, being around that environment.
Being around that environment. Yeah. I start feeling like I deserve and I can afford this mansion, right? Because I wasn't going up to trap houses delivering pieces. I was going up to $1 million homes. So though that was the thing that I did, and I lived below my means. I got a roommate. And my second stream of income and my third stream of income that I got from delivering pieces, I stacked all of it, 100% of it. I'm not telling everybody to do this, but I stopped investing in my 401k because I didn't want a job. So I stopped investing in my 401k. You know, I scraped up all the money I can. I sold all my old Jordans. I sold all my old shoes, and I saved up probably about $10,000 or $15,000. But I was trying to chase two rabbits because I was paying off debt and trying to stack. So eventually I stopped paying off my student loans and I just went full-fledged stack. And then that was the money that I used as the safety net when I decided to quit my job and go full-time to start this company. Is I only started the company with $150, but I had money in the back just in case, because again, I've been my back been against the wall before and I didn't have money at that time, so I had to go back and get a job. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go back and get a job. So I saved up a year worth of expenses and lived below my means. Man, I still live below my means, bro.
Yes,
like I still live like I'm in college. I sold my TV. I sold everything, bro. And you know the memes when they be saying this is how a man apartment looks.
Yeah,
that's how my apartment
looked.
On the floor. Mattress on the floor, bro. For 3 years. Well, I did when I did go get a headboard.
That was, you deserve one.
That was the only thing I went and got, a bed and a headboard. And, you know, I lived like that for 3 years straight until, you know, I actually had money to where it didn't really matter if I lived in a good apartment or a bad apartment. You know, I had the money to afford it.
Wow. All right, man. This is good. So grinding, man. A lot of people don't understand until you're like actually in it, when you have to invest your own money and you have to build something, that entrepreneurship, sometimes you have to take a step back so you can make 10 steps forward.
Yeah.
So during that time of selling the TV, mattress on the floor, how do you stay motivated when you work in a 9-to-5, but you know, I'm so much better than this, I'm smarter than this, and I just have to grind through this time? How do you stay upright? How do you stay motivated?
Man, I'm gonna be honest, man. I stopped listening to music for probably about a year.
Wow. Like
that's why a lot of these new artists, like I be jamming to them.
Right.
Like rest in peace, P&B Rock. I was jamming to him, but I didn't know who he was. Like when he passed, I'm like, who is that? And then I went back and was like, oh, I remember some of his songs, but I didn't know who it was him. I didn't know who DaBaby was. Wow. I didn't know who Lil Baby was. I didn't know who NBA Youngboy was for a long time, because I stopped listening to music for about a year and a half, and all I was listening to was Eric Thomas, Les Brown, you know, Brian Tracy, Steve Jobs documentaries, all these business documentaries, because I wanted to feed my mind, man. I really, like, honestly, man, I'm gonna be honest, man, I wanted to quit, but just listening to them people every day, I was like, I'm gonna give it another week.
Wow.
I'm gonna give it another month. Because, man, I was struggling. So, bro, I was struggling, bro. Like, I was embarrassed. And I'm in a new city, right? It's a different struggle when you can go over your auntie house and get something to eat, go over your cousin house. Like, I was in a new city and I didn't know nobody. Right? So I was really forced to live below my means and feed myself, because I literally couldn't quit. Because if I was to quit, like, I'm gonna just lay down and that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in a city where I can't depend on nobody. So I started feeding my mind. And then I got really to a point where I'm like, enough motivation. I'm motivated already. After about 6 months, I'm like, I need practical information. So I started listening to audiobooks instead of motivational stuff. Right? So I cut off the Eric Thomas. I love Eric Thomas. I cut off the Eric Thomas and started putting on the Brian Tracy's of the world who actually provide key steps. And one of the books that I read that changed my mind is a book called Eat That Frog. And it basically was saying is if you had a huge task to do, okay, not the huge task. If you had to eat 3 frogs, right? Which one should you eat first? Well, you might as well eat the biggest and the ugliest one first. Get it out the way.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the same way you do with your life and set up your task. So knock out the hard stuff first. Get some motivation. Start rolling. So I woke up, wrote my dreams down, wrote my goals down of what I wanted to accomplish that day. And once I accomplished these things in that day, I stopped. So let's say you got 5 tasks that you need to do. 5 really, really important things. You write that down, you do it, and you stop. Because a lot of times what people do is say, I get the 5 things done. Well, let me do 15 more. And then you don't finish the 15, so you don't feel productive.
You feel defeated.
It's more psychological than practical a lot of times. So I do the 5 things, I stop. Then I go out and I got time to deliver pieces, go work extra. You know what I'm saying? But I was doing those little practical things, and before you know it, you know, I had done 50 or 60 things. I had got my LLC. I had started a business. I got the website. I had did all this stuff. So I had done the things as a side job that I needed to do by just doing 4 or 5 things each day for about 4 or 5 months. And it became a habit. So now if I look at my calendar, I knock things out that I know I need to do. And then I don't feel guilty about going out to eat or just going on a date or hanging out with some friends or going to the gym, because I know I accomplished those 5 things. And the 5 things, the list grew. 5 turned into 7, 7 turned into 10, right? But a lot of times you just need to get started, and you need to convince yourself that you can execute and get things done. Because confidence comes from you saying you're going to do something and actually doing it.
That's right.
That's what confidence comes from. If you say I'm gonna shoot a podcast today, you didn't say I was gonna shoot a podcast no matter whether I have a guest or not. You said I'm shooting a podcast. So if I didn't show up, you should have sat up here and did a 15, 20-minute podcast just talking about whatever. Right? That's the type of mentality you need in order to succeed in business, because the reality is none of our business need to exist for the world to go around. If my business stopped tomorrow, everybody else is still going to be okay. I might be devastated. My employee's going to be devastated. My lawyer going to lose a client. My accountant going to lose a client. My bank going to lose a client. But the world is still going to go on. So, like, you got to really wake up every day to take market share from people, and it's hard. It's not easy. I know people, talk about it like entrepreneurship is this fun thing. It gets very lonely.
That's real.
Right? So you got to be willing to stomach those times.
Loneliness, man. Being successful, proving people wrong, going through embarrassment, people doubting you. Just being smart and innovative, that can be lonely, because I already know, like, you're probably like, yo, how do you not see this great idea I had?
Exactly.
How do you try to fight being lonely sometimes?
I think listening to the motivational stuff and listening to the audiobooks and reading biographies and documentaries, that's something I'm real big on. They all have similar stories. They were doing it by themselves. Elon Musk talked about how he ain't get an apartment. Instead, he slept in the office, right? And he did that for 6 to 8 months while he was starting his company. And I was like, man, like, I'm not the only one crazy, because I was willing to do stuff like that.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? I was willing to do that type of stuff. Getting a roommate, right? Being kind of embarrassed, like you have a chick come over and she like, oh, you got a roommate? Like having to convince her like that I'm still on my stuff, but I got a roommate because I'm stacking and doing all this. Some chicks don't want to hear that. But you just got to put yourself in an environment where you're not the only one, even if you're the only one in the physical location. The world is global. That's right. So you can have mentors and business partners and stuff like that across the world. So I started connecting with different entrepreneurs that was going through the same thing I was going through. And I was just talking to people across the world. I mean, I know they probably looking at me now like, man, he probably don't even know who I am now. But I was in like Facebook groups. I paid for mentorship. You know how people had their communities and stuff. And I had friends and stuff in there. We didn't really know each other like that, but we were going through the same thing, and we were able to talk to someone, communicate with someone, chat with someone. We had group chats and stuff, and we all was waking up at 6 a.m. I still remember it, man, pumping each other up.
Wow.
You know, we had like a morning call. It was like 60 of us on there. This was in Eric Thomas community, by the way.
Wow.
So people know I'm not like full of it.
Yeah.
Like, you would get on the Zoom call and there'd be like 60, 70 people just on there talking about what they're going to do today. Hey, I'm going to get 5 things done today. And I remember it, man. Like, we used to get on there every day, and I did that for like 6 months. And, you know, that was like kind of my accountability. It was called an accountability call.
Wow.
So that was like my accountability call. And I did that for like 4 or 5, 6 months, whatever, until I was my own accountability. Because at first I wasn't accountable enough to wake up and do everything I needed to do. I don't know why, but once I got around that energy virtually, it was contagious. So, you know, I was lonely physically, but like mentally, I still had people across the world that was telling me they're going through the same thing. Their parents don't believe in them. Their girl left them. All this type of stuff that happened to me. And I'm like, man, I'm not crazy. So sometimes you do need that validation from the outside world to be like, man, I'm not that crazy. So that's why it's good to have entrepreneurial friends or whatever you're trying to do. Is good to have people that are speaking life into what you're doing.
Man, that's beautiful. Execution, confidence, man, you were killing that on all cylinders. When did you know, okay, here's the name of the brand, Black Millionaires?
So it's interesting, right? Yeah. So after like I had moved to Atlanta, I had this brand called Millennial Mistakes, right? And I thought,
I like that.
I'm like, man, that's a solid name. That's a fire name, right? But it wasn't really like translating to sales.
I feel you.
So over the course of a year, I only made like $1,800 with that brand, man. That's how I lost all the money, because I was investing, buying equipment, doing all this other crazy stuff, going on trips, and like going to conferences, and you know, trying to introduce myself to people. I had like 8 pair of business cards, because every time I go to a conference, I meet somebody with a better business card than me, and I'm like, oh man, I need to
update it.
I need to update it. And then I just kept changing my website, kept changing my email. So like, oh, well, I got to update this, I got to update that.
Wow.
So that's how I lost a bunch of money. And then eventually I just was like, man, I'm not a quitter, but I'm giving up this business, man. So I stopped. So I had stopped doing that, and then that's when I really started doing the side hustles, delivering the pizzas, doing this, doing that. And then I had a friend who had a business, and then we was doing, man, like talking back and forth every day. This is like my best friend from college, man. And never had an argument, never got into it, partied together, spent money together, threw money in a strip club together. We did everything together.
Real bonding experiences.
And right. We did everything together, man. And we was like, let's start a business together. We like, all right. And I was like, I want to start this digital marketing media company. I wanted to call it Black Wall Street, but I went on Instagram and everybody had a Black Wall Street. So I'm like, nah, man, we can't call it Black Wall Street. But I'm like, I want to like promote Black entrepreneurs, man. Like, this is what I really want to do, because that's what I was infatuated with, bro. Ever since I was like, you know, it was like 18. And we was just coming up with different names, Black Wall Street, you know, Black this, Black that. And then my friend was like, Black Millionaires. And I was like, that's it. I was like, that's it, right? So instantly, I was like, let's come up with a business plan. So I was like, how much money you want to put up? And he was like, man, we don't need to put that much money up. So we was like, all right, we just going to put $150 up a piece. Wow. So he cashed at me $150.
Wow.
So I went and bought the domain name. I bought Canva. I bought the Wix, the monthly subscription or whatever, Wix, and then I switched that over to Squarespace. I bought the Google suite. It was like $30 a year that gives you the professional email. So I just really, you know, I bought all.
You was official.
I was official. So I had spent my $150. So I had this chick over, right, one day, and you know, we were just hanging out. So me and my friend was supposed to have a meeting, and I'm like, hey man, I got the chick over, this, that, and the third. And he like was calling me. He called me like 18 times. I'm like, man, what's going on? What's wrong? And he was like, man, what you do with the money, man? Give me the money back. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm over here with this, like, I'm on a date, bro. Like, chill. And then he like, nah, man, like, you ain't doing everything you need to do, blase, blase. And I was like, bro, I am. Like, I got the domain name, I got the website, but I didn't design the website. You know how you buy a website and it's just like locked?
Yep.
So the website was locked, and he was like, nah, man, ain't no website up. You lying, whatever. Because he went and tried to look it up, and it wasn't published.
Right.
So me and him was arguing for like 3 days, bro. This is my best friend, bro. Like, this really like hurt me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I ain't never said this, bro, but like, we ain't talked in like ever since I started the company. I'm like, bro, if you listening to this, bro, like, if you gonna listen to this, like, just hit me up, bro. Like, but I had to give his money back, man. We was arguing so much. I was just like, look, bro, I'ma quit. I'm like, I ain't doing the business. Like, Black Millionaires wouldn't have existed, bro. I sent his money back, and I called my bank trying to, get all my money back, and I couldn't dispute any of the purchase. You can't dispute GoDaddy because you own it now. That's intellectual property.
It's yours.
It's yours. You can't dispute Canva. You signed the terms and conditions. Wow. You can't dispute Wix, Squarespace, Google. The bank like, nah, man, you signed the terms and conditions. Like, it don't sound like they scammed you. You sound like you signed up for that. So my $150 was already spent. So, I stopped for probably about 2 or 3 days and was like, I ain't doing it. And me and him, never talked. And then I was like, man, I started this. I had the Instagram, and I just was like, man, forget about it, man. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I started, and ever since I started, man, I just was going hard. And then he had actually texted me probably about a year and a half in.
Wow.
I had probably like 180,000 followers or whatever.
Blowing up.
It was blowing up, and he was like, man, you grimy, you cut me out the business. You knew it was gonna blow up. I'm like, come on, bro. How can I predict
that's how it be,
the business was gonna blow up, bro? Yeah. How can I predict that, right? Like, I'm still at awe of what I've been able to build over the last 2 or 3 years, bro. Like, I'm still at awe and impressed by myself. So, yeah, man, I ain't talked to him other than that, man. And it's like, that's really how I came up with the name. I had a business partner, but, he wanted his $150 back, bro. Like, that's literally my story. And that's why, just to pivot, that's why I trademarked my name so fast. I didn't even know what a trademark.
I see it too on the shirt as
I didn't even know what a trademark was.
Wow.
But I was so nervous that he was gonna come back and try to sue me and say he started the business. So I called 10 trademark attorneys. 9 of them said they don't think Black Millionaires because it was so typical. Like, black is a word that's used every day. Yeah. Millionaires is a word that's used every day. And they didn't think it was going to be able to go through. I called this one lawyer, and she had just left her company. Wow. And I was like one of her first clients. So she was like, she couldn't turn down the money. So that's the only reason. She told me later, like, I didn't think it was going to get accepted, but I couldn't turn down the money because I had just left my job. My husband told me to take it. Wow. Right? So she took me on as a client, and as she started applying, she was like, oh, Black Millionaires was actually trademarked in the 90s. Somebody let it go dead in like 2002, because if you don't use the trademark and you don't keep it updated and stuff like that, it'll go dead. So Black Millionaires had went dead in like 2002, 2003. So that excited me because I'm like, oh, that means it actually can get trademarked. Wow. So I went through the process. It took about a year, and I got it trademarked in like 4 or 5 different classes. So e-commerce, television, media, broadcasting, production, any type of journalism, merch, obviously, e-commerce, any type of online website, any type of newspaper, print journalism, all of that, right? So it's basically trademarked, and I want my trademark to be like Nike. Like, you can't put Black Millionaires on nothing.
Talk your talk.
So that's why I actually trademark. I didn't know what a trademark was, but I started looking up videos on partnerships going bad and stuff like that on YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. Like, I YouTube anything. Yeah. Like, and one of the it was a white guy on there. He was saying, like, if you have a partnership go bad, you want to make sure you copyright everything you do and you trademark everything you do.
That's right.
So that's that's what I did.
Y'all, that's gems, man. Because now, like during this time, especially during 2020 and now 2022, about to enter into 2023, which is crazy. But people are starting businesses left and right. Young Black Millennials, Gen Z, and sometimes you can have creative differences. You can fall out. How do you deal with losing team members and still pushing that vision and thinking and knowing, I can still make this thing work?
I hired people. I had to let people go. Partnerships didn't work out. Some partnerships did work out. So I'll just give you my experience from my perspective. What I learned as a leader and as a manager and as a boss is I'm not good at managing people. Right? So I need self-sufficient, self-starting people around me. In any company that is early and new and as a startup like mine, you can't really hire the typical worker. So looking at somebody's resume and reading somebody's work experience isn't going to work. You actually got to meet that person and you got to ask them, what have you done like that shows that you're a self-starter. And at first I didn't realize that. Like I hired, somebody just because they went to the University of Kentucky and they went to this place and they had this years of experience. And then I realized that person wasn't the right person for me. Didn't make them a bad person, by the way. It don't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them a failure, but it made them a bad person for me in that moment. Now, 5 years down the line, they might be a perfect person because they was more of the corporate-y type of person that you have to tell what to do. And when you a startup like mine's and a business like mine's, you need people who are go-getters.
That's real.
Go get the food and bring it back to me. Like in business, bro, and just and Black people in general, our problem is we ask for permission and not forgiveness. So if you a startup, you need people who are going to go ask for forgiveness and make a mistake and not people who going to ask for permission. Because if you sitting around asking for permission, I don't have all the answers. I'm trying to start a business. That's why I hired you. Steve Jobs said he didn't hire people to tell them what to do. He hired them so they can tell him what to do. So when you a startup and you a business owner, you want to hire somebody who's a self-starter. That's the number one trait you need. Not somebody who need to be told what to do. Because if you're sitting around telling them what to do all day, guess what you're not doing? You're not working.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, bro, that's the number one trait you need in order to start a business and get it off the ground is you have to obviously be a self-starter, and you need 2 or 3 people around you that are self-starters that have that engine and that fire in the belly that you can't teach, you can't pay for it, your parents can't raise you to have it. It's just something that's within you that you don't know why you get up and you want to start a business and you want to always work or you want to always read. You don't know why you're like that. Right? I was one of them little kids that just run around the house. I didn't know why I was doing that. Right? People call it ADHD, but really I'm just a self-starter. I'm a self-motivated person. So
creativity, man.
Creativity. So one of the things I realized as a leader is your first 5 employees at least need to be self-starters. It need to be people who could potentially run their own business, but they're just working with you. Those are the best. Those are the only people that's going to get your business running and generating enough revenue to where you can go hire that person that can be told what to do. Because by that time, you got a large enough team and they're not reporting to you, they're reporting to somebody else.
Y'all, heavy gems, man. Black Millionaires, your page, your business stands out amongst all the other similar pages. To me, how, people go to like the Shade Room for news and culture and craziness, ratchetness. For me, whether it's Black entrepreneurship, business tips, I think about you, Black Millionaires.
Yeah, right? that's a good compliment, man. The Shade Room of financial literacy.
That's y'all, bro.
Yeah.
So what do you think separates your business, your platform from all the other ones out there?
One thing I learned is brand association is very, very important, right? So what do I mean by brand association? Do you know Louis Vuitton? They burn their clothes. They don't sell their clothes on sale. Wow. Right? Or like they ascended to like Nordstrom Rack or one of those places that still have a higher end customer base. So it's not necessarily on sale. They just send it to different places and people go in and find a good bag or whatever. So I say that to say, I don't post up negative content about our culture. I know some things about our culture is negative.
Yeah.
So like shout out to the young lady who started the Shade Room. A lot of people give her a lot of flack because they feel like the Shade Room promotes a lot of negativity. But no, it really just promotes, it's a mirror to Black culture. So I manipulated that mirror and I only post up positive stuff. I only post up things that are empowering about our community. I don't like to shame anybody in our community. I don't like to divide our community. So that's my biggest thing. And that's hard, by the way.
Yeah.
That is extremely hard. Every day I wake up talking to my team on meetings or just talking to my team in general and saying, man, we got to find some content. We got to find some content. Because it's really, really hard to find some content that is mostly positive. Yeah. Or that has a lesson behind it. Right? So I don't really do the gossip and I don't really do this. I really post up stuff that has lessons behind it so people can walk away with something positive or they can learn something. Right. That's a really, really hard thing to do, which is why I can't post at volume like the Shade Room post. They post probably 15, 20 times a day. I literally can't post that much because it ain't that much content that's good around the culture that I'm looking to promote, right? So, and it's a particular type of content that like, it's kind of a secret sauce to it, and it's real hard to find it. But I got to find those hidden gems. So, brand association is really important. So, like for example, during the pandemic when George Floyd was murdered, by the cop. I think his name Derek Chauvin. Yep, that was him. A lot of people was posting up the video. I wouldn't do it. A lot of people, man, you got to post that up so people can get out. So people, I wouldn't post it up, right? And a lot of people gave me flack for it, but they didn't realize, man, I didn't want people coming on to my brand and my page because it's a subconscious thing. Every time you come to my page, I got somebody on here getting shot and killed. Eventually, man, you're going to get tired of coming on there. But now, the flip side, if every time you come on my page, you learn something about money, about business, about culture, or just about breaking news, you're going to be kind of refreshed to come to my page, right? Good. So it's more of a long-term play than a short-term play. Of course, I could have got some views and some likes and some Black power, during the George Floyd situation. But I knew long term it's gonna turn off a lot of people because my brand will be associated. And I'm using George Floyd as an example because that was, a global thing that happened that shook the world. But imagine if I post up every school shooting, if I post up every police brutality, if I post up every person going to jail, if I post up every divorce. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Eventually my brand is gonna have a negative connotation to it. That's bro. Right. So I only post positive and uplifting things or educational things and give you something you can take away from it. Even if it's a divorce, I talk about the prenup that was signed and why finances behind. I don't talk about she cheated on him or none of that matters to me. I talk about, hey, now you got to pay this child support or now you got to pay this. This is why the Black family construct sticking together is very important. You see what I'm saying? I always have a message or something behind it so people walk away with a hidden gem. So that's really, really hard, and that's what really separates my brand from other companies. And I don't think my brand should be replicated. So I don't think a lot of people should go out and try to do what I'm doing because it's really, really hard. But the reality is somebody has to do it. So I took the challenge.
Man, before we wrap, brother, because you killed this, you gave so many gems. Very last question, man. Where do you see James Hill within the next 5 to 10 years? James Hill as the man, and then James Hill as the entrepreneur and Black Millionaires as well. Man, I see myself growing more as a leader.
That's one of the things I struggle with is leadership because I'm a self-starter. So it's kind of like one of those things because I'm a self-starter that sometimes make me a bad leader. It's kind of like Jordan. He's a bad coach because he is Michael Jordan. Yeah. Right? So because I'm a self-leader and a self-starter, it actually makes me a bad leader sometimes because sometimes I lack empathy. Because I'll talk to somebody like, I don't understand why you can't get that done.
You perform at a high level.
I perform at a high level and I don't make excuses. So I don't, you know, and I have to have compassion for a lot of people. Everybody isn't that passionate and isn't a self-starter. So I, for one, see myself growing as a leader. I see myself raising a venture capital fund to invest in a lot of these Black-owned businesses. I see myself shooting a lot of documentaries. I love documentaries.
That's dope.
So that's one of my goals over the next few years. That's why I'm documenting the process.
Yeah, hey,
I got my people
shooter, man.
I got my people shooting because you know, when the Black Millionaires James Hill documentary come out,
like genius,
you know, exactly. Yeah. I got that content, so I'm thinking 10, 15 years in advance.
That's right.
And I just see myself alive and well, man, healthy. As long as I'm healthy, I can live to fight another day. So that's where I see myself in 5 years, man.
Man, that's beautiful. James, man, thank you so much for your time. You are always welcome, man, back on the platform.
Appreciate it.
Also, man, where can everybody follow you, keep up with your work, get in contact with you? I know you got classes, sessions, seminars all the time, all that good stuff. How can they find that? Yeah,
man. So you can find everything at black-millionaires.com, black-millionaires.com. Somebody stole the domain from me, the blackmillionaires.com. Yeah. Somebody got the domain name. So it's black and it's a dash millionaires.com.
Yes, sir.
You can follow us on Instagram or any YouTube, Twitter, all of that at Black Millionaires. And if you want to just tap in with me personally, you can follow me. I'm on all platforms, James Hill TV.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everything that you got going on here. I see this platform growing, and continuing to be a place where entrepreneurs come share their story.
Thank you.
So man, I appreciate your time and
likewise.
Your team. You got a great team here.
Thank you.
You got a great, studio and everything, man. So it's pretty dope.
Hey, you make it easy, man. Y'all, you saw it firsthand. The gems is countless, man. Make sure to tap in with James Hill. He's killing it. Black Millionaires as well. If you have a business, you're trying to promote it, small, big, large, whatever, hit them up, man. They got you. Everything is affordable, great pricing, and real engagement, man. It's a lot of pages with fake followers. You got real engagement. You got real comments, so you can actually check that, man.
Facts.
Shout out to Aaron, man. We appreciate you always killing it. Sid and Devin as well with set design, editing, everything. We appreciate y'all. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the content. Keep killing it, creatives, and we'll see you soon. Peace.